Okay, just quick PSA here before we get started. If you are sending me a donation deck list, PayPal has changed something on their end. So if you send me a link in the initial PayPal message when you make your donation, I'm not getting those links anymore. So from now on, if you do a donation deck list, shoot me a message on Discord or shoot me an email with your list to make sure that I get it. Michael, I am missing your updated Esper value list. I think I have everything else from recently. All right, now let's get into it. Today's deck is kind of wild. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today Alan sent me something that I thought was going to be an easy challenge, and I ended up racking my brain for a couple hours this morning trying to make it work. Alan asked for a Legacy Academy Manufactor deck. Also, I could have sworn this was Academy Manufacturer. It is very much not. So, if you would make a clue, food, or treasure, instead create one of each of these. And this is something that can spiral out of control very quickly. And in building this deck, I came across a couple of primary problems. The biggest one being that the deck really wanted to be like 4 different colors at the same time. There are a lot of really cool combos involving this card. And I was desperately trying to avoid being a 4-color Urza Saga deck this morning while I was building up this deck. And I finally eliminated black at the very end. So black offers a pretty neat infinite combo with War and Soul Trader. So if you have Academy Manufactor, when you make a treasure with this ability, you are also going to get a food and a clue. And you can use that with Cauldron Familiar to just kind of instantly combo out your opponent. But I had blue and white cards that I wanted to fit into the deck. And Legacy allows you to play Green Sun Zenith, which can tutor up your green creatures specifically, but things like War and Soul Trader and Cauldron Familiar would have to be tutored up via Chord of Calling. Chord of Calling, generally speaking, is pretty slow for Legacy, and you'll pretty much only see it in one very specific deck. So this is what I cooked up. The way we want to win is by making nearly infinite amounts of squirrels with Chatterfang Squirrel General. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, these tokens plus that many squirrel tokens are created instead. And before I finish talking about this deck, I need to show off a very important interaction here. It's very, very, very important to understand this to make sure your deck works properly. So we're in a sample game here. I'm going to go ahead and play a Chatterfang, and I'm doing so while I control something that is going to allow me to make a token when Chatterfang enters. So I play Chatterfang. I investigate. Now I have multiple different replacement effects. You need to apply the Academy Manufacturer one first. When you do that, you get 3 squirrels instead of 1. Just showing that off. If we do this the other way, and I then go and play a Samewise, if I click on the Chatterfang, I am now up to 4 squirrels instead of 6 squirrels. Now let's skip ahead a little bit. Let's now push this to a little bit of an extreme to show you what this deck theoretically is capable of. So let's say that we control multiple of these effects that are going to give us more tokens. Let's see what that starts looking like. I make a food. I now can apply multiple of these replacement effects. And then I make a ton of squirrels as these end up stacking up. So I click on an Academy Manufactor, which allows me to do it again, and again, and again. And we go from having 28 squirrels, having quite a few more. So I did not want this deck to be a 3-color black deck. We want to be playing both Samewise and Lonis, because we want to have the ability, when we play a creature, to make a token, and then we want to double up those tokens. Urza Saga is just going to let us beat face with a giant token, or tutor up a couple of key cards. And in trying to round out this deck, I wanted a few slots that could just be a completely separate plan that was green sunnable and kind of annoying. And when I think of green sunnable and kind of annoying, there's exactly one card that comes to mind. So we are going to have a backdoor draw a bunch of cards with Nadu plan. Because against control, I am worried that trying to assemble all of these moving parts at the same time is just going to be problematic. So if we have some other things that my opponent has to constantly be worried about, some of my other bullshit might get to live for a little bit longer. We are not going to invest too much in this plan. We are not going to say, like, okay, I am going to fully combo my entire deck once I start clicking with Nadu. We're going to throw a Shuko in there. We're going to throw a Sylvan Safekeeper in there as a green sunnable target that can kind of let me get going with that if I need to. And that's going to be about it. As far as the sideboard goes, we're going to have the ability to remove fair creatures. We're going to have the ability to stop cards like Show and Tell that maybe might be pretty decent at fighting us on the stack. And then we are going to have a few silver bullets for Green Sun and Urza's Saga, respectively. As a 3-color Urza Saga deck, sometimes our mana is going to be a little bit sketchy. I am trying to make it so that every non-Urza Saga land in the deck taps for green mana on turn 1. I felt like that was incredibly important. I am going to intentionally omit a Surveil land from this deck. I think this deck is very, very mana hungry. We want to be playing multiple 3-drops. And I think there is very real downside to a Surveil land here. I am sure that I will curse myself for not putting it in the deck, but I like theoretically not doing it. And we'll see how this plays out. This one is definitely wild. Folks, should you find that you need any Magic cards for an upcoming event, please check out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order. If you are going to a major upcoming event such as MagicCon Vegas, you can place an order in advance and pick it up on the show floor. It is super convenient, and I highly recommend it. With that being said, let's battle. So, here's me at the end of round 1, having successfully comboed off 2 games, and I had a recording hiccup. I'm going to see if the Magic Online replays are fixed yet. If they aren't, this game is lost, and I am very, very upset about it because we did the thing twice in a row. Summarizing this while I still have the game log, in game 1, I play a Nadu on turn 2 and a Shuko on turn 3. I get a bunch of value, and then my opponent ends up conceding right as I am putting together Academy Manufactor and Chatterfang. They just had enough of it. So that was an effective turn 4 win for me. And then game 2, my opponent plays a Stoneforge Mystic and just 0 to deaths me. There was this interesting decision in sideboarding about whether or not I need to bring in Swords to Plowshares. And the only thing I need to Swords to Plowshares is Stoneforge Mystic in the matchup. Most of the rest of my opponent's stuff I just don't really care about. And then my opponent leads Mom into Stoneforge on a mulligan to 5. And my Swords to Plowshares rotted in my hand very awkwardly. And in the final game here, I fairly pressure my opponent with a Scythecat Cub. They are forced to Solitude my early mana dork while they don't have a lot going on. There's a Leonin Arbiter in the mid game, and I eventually just force my opponent to block with it to put them to 1. And then the next turn, I have my choice of Nadu combo and or Academy Manufactor plus Chatterfang. Yup, Magic Online replays are still disabled. Frustrated content creator is frustrated by that. There's nothing that can be done. I apologize. GG's. Okay, I am a little tight on mana here. I have 2 mana to start with. I can't play Samewise. I don't have a follow-up land for Scythecat Cub. I don't think I like this one more than a mulligan. This I like just fine. We'll get rid of Endurance, and we'll get paired against Dupes All Spells, where I wish I had that immediately. So we are going to set up a lot of squirrels relatively quickly. It is Undercity Sewers, and my opponent likes their card. Noble Hierarch is not immediately good, but it might represent some food/squirrels in a little while. I guess there is some question about whether or not I play out Chatterfang immediately next turn. Oh, that's kind of cool, I guess. I can make Chatterfang uncounterable. Just play a less attractive card this turn. Alright, make my food token. Play Delighted Halfling. And now we're going to see this whole, like, make a whole bunch of things for the future. The clues are perfectly fine. Opponent has land drop 3. Rakshasa's Bargain is on the table for a very, very powerful effect in this matchup. Fatal Push. That is acceptable. And we're chilling. So this is going to be uncounterable. Alright, so I investigate. I get a squirrel out of that. I gotta bash in for 2? I think I'm gonna bash in for 2. What's a board wipe and why would I care? We've got some squirrels. They're doing the thing. Is it a Bowmaster? It is a Bowmaster. Opponent gonna outright trade. Opponent is going to outright trade for it. I've got a bunch of clue tokens, so that's not the worst. If I had a little more mana, I could sacrifice some squirrels to stop that. Maybe the attack was bad on my end. Are we bargaining? We are bargaining. So my opponent draws a card for Up the Beanstalk and then gets 2 of their top 4 cards. The others go to graveyard. So if my opponent finds things like Life from the Loam and Uro, it gets a little silly. Sure. Opponent said no to Fatal Push. It is Murderous Cut instead. You've got it. I've still got the Delighted Halfling. I've got a couple Delighted Halflings. So draw. Sure. Blue and green. Play a new one of these. Use Noble Hierarch to play a new Delighted Halfling, which opponent is just Force of Willing. That's fair. Send in for 2. 13. My opponent probably has tons of removal, and the more of it that cantrips, the scarier this ends up becoming in the long term. One of my initial drafts of this deck had a bunch of copies of Collected Company in the main deck, and then later the sideboard for control matchups that look like this one, just because it is so much easier to assemble multiple moving parts if you can get 2 of them for 1 card. And then I decided it was just slowing down the deck too much. There's a Brainstorm. I mean, yeah. Wait, I don't actually have black mana to activate this easily unless I have a treasure. Squirrels. Investigate. One has 1 mana. I can safely draw here. Samewise, which I don't have the mana to cast. Send it, send it, send it. Opponent is at 10. Now this is working. Mystic Sanctuary is real good. That can get back a Murderous Cut that will cantrip. We're just Murktiding. We are Murktiding, which will draw a Murderous Cut, which is still castable. Witherbloom Command on a squirrel. Getting back a Delta. Sure. Now my opponent can take out my Chatterfang. That will trigger Murktide Regent, making Murktide Regent fucking huge. Murktide Regent will kill me in 2 hits. Yeah, and if you wanted to know why we were so hyped about the Rakshasa's Bargain, this is it, right? Like on this board, it would be a draw 4. That maybe gives extra value for things like Murktide and Murderous Cut. Opponent discards a Bowmasters. Are you uncounterable? I think I'm just gonna crack a clue first. Verdant Catacombs. I will go ahead and play Samewise. Get a clue. Crack a clue? I think I have to crack a clue. Find something cool to do for next turn. That's not something cool to do for next turn. Oh, fuck. What if I was supposed to play towards returning Chatterfang? Fuck. By sacrificing 3 foods. You can get the 3rd food by returning Delighted Halfling. I think my opponent just attacks with Murktide and I don't deal 10 to them next turn. I have 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 showing. I guess I can crack some foods as long as Bowmaster doesn't get involved. To live for another turn cycle. Sure. Fatal Push. Yeah, there's the Bargain as a draw 4. Disgusting. Witherbloom Command. Getting a Wasteland back. Endurance? Are you endurancing yourself so you don't mill? Oh, you're endurancing yourself to make Murktide big. Now my food tokens aren't going to make this viable. Oh no, I'm dead right now. That was a lot. Yikes. My opponent turned the corner there in 2 turns, right? They played Murktide Regent and then killed me the following turn. That was wild. So how do I want to deal with my opponent? I am so on board with Endurance as a generic value card. And then it's how much do I want to respect Murktide Regent and Uro? I think I'm good with cutting Gilded Goose, turning that into a Soul Guide Lantern, maybe trim Peregrine took for the Endurance. I am unsure on Swords to Plowshares. This is solid. I wouldn't mind drawing more land here. Wasteland's annoying. Cool. I am happy enough with that. Opponent's at 19. I am going to use my mana and just take that out of the graveyard. I don't want that coming back with a Life from the Loam later. Yeah, I accept that. I think this is Urza Saga time. And I don't know, I could play Chatterfang, and then when I make Urza Saga tokens, triggers Chatterfang. Okay. Fetch. I'm going to give my opponent a chance to wasteland something that's not Urza's Saga. Let's do this. Another Fatal Push from my opponent, and Hedge Maze. Keeping a card. Samewise plus Chatterfang is cool for a little bit later on. Let's get this down. Ponder is fine. I need to kind of eyeball the graveyard. Murderous Cut is something that I would like to play around. So if my opponent fetches right here, I can't play around Murderous Cut. I think we're not nuking the graveyard yet. It is just a petty theft for tempo. Sure. Quite good. It means I don't get my sick value here. Alright. I really don't want my opponent to do something like play a Murktide Regent. This is contributing to size for the construct tokens right now. What are my Urza Saga bullets from game 1? Lava Spur boots. I'm going to keep this in play. That's an Up the Beanstalk from my opponent, which now means that a Murderous Cut would cantrip. This might be my spot where I need to just Soul Guide Lantern to keep my opponent from casting a cantripping Murktide Regent. So my opponent has 3 cards here, but that's 3 cards with 3 different asterisks next to it. Sure. So let's make a friend, get the boots, whip the boots. This is 7 damage immediately. And next turn is weird if my opponent just passes the turn, because I can play out both of these to throw my construct tokens, but doing so would trigger Up the Beanstalks if my opponent has a Force of Will effect. Okay, so my opponent is junking my boots. Is a decent damage shrink for my opponent. And then a Brainstorm. Seems like my opponent has a Fatal Push or Murderous Cut. Fatal Push. How do we feel about Dryad Arbor? Sweeper is possible, but unlikely. Getting the Dryad Arbor in play in case I end up doing some Nadu stuff could be relevant. Hey, some Nadu stuff, while Force of Will is not live. I really wanted to resolve 2 different cards this turn, but that's not happening. Send it. So, we'll see what my opponent can do here. Fetch land to follow it up. Mystic Sanctuary isn't getting something that triggers Up the Beanstalk. The Witherbloom command. There's a Murderous Cut. I get a land. Nadu dies. Then a Ponder. Then my opponent can follow up with a Fatal Push or whatever on another creature. Witherbloom command. Beans are just so good in these positions. Is it just Nadu again? I don't think so. But I think it is Green Sun for X equals 3. I just think my opponent has too much stuff in their graveyard at this point, and I don't want them stabilizing with a Murktide Regent. And then I just kind of hope that playing 2 of these cards following up with Chatterfang ends up being good enough. Well, we cleared out the graveyard, so it's not coming back this turn. But that is definitely a problem in the medium term. I can wait 1 turn, usually. I can usually wait 1 turn. So let's play this Snake Elf Scout, followed by Samewise. I'll investigate. That grows this into a 2/2, which is relevant. And Endurance. Yeah. I just lose my construct token. That's a little annoying. Hopefully I go wide of that, although I think nearly 100% of the time I have to cast the Endurance on my turn here. I don't think my opponent is going to get an Uro into play this turn. I can stop it with Endurance if I absolutely have to. This is something big. This is going to be like a Kaito, or just a inefficient Murderous Cut or something. Yeah, Murderous Cut. Then a Wasteland. That's fine. A Wasteland means that I can't crack a Clue and do Endurance this turn, though. Let's clear out this Uro. What a disaster. Force of Will blue card as the remaining 2 cards. I probably lose the game to that. Bowmasters is bad. That's pinging. Do you have 2 Bowmasters? Witherbloom Command is the other one. Oh, disgusting. So then if my opponent has a land, they get Uro. Oh no, what a disaster. So now my opponent, I think, is stable with Endurance and Uro and double up the Beanstalk and Brazen Borrower floating in exile. I don't think I can get over the finish line anymore. I am comfortable tapping out there. GG's.
Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, which is, in my opinion, the best Magic the Gathering website for hosting your deck lists online. One of my favorite features is that you can create your own custom tags for when you're deck building. So let's say you're building a commander deck and you want to know, hey, how many copy effects do I have? You can just create a tag and sort everything, and there's fun little hotkeys so that you can do this more quickly. So really, please consider checking them out if you are looking to tinker with deck lists online.
Okay, I think I'm too mana light here. I'm gonna mulligan this one. This is fine. I'm playing against a Yorion deck. Could be taxes, could be not taxes. The hand's a little awkward because I can't play Urza Saga on 2 while doing this unless I draw a Mana Dork. Alright, it is a blue Yorion deck. Okay, now I have some potential reasons to not Urza Saga on 2. Oh, and we'll probably grab a Surveil land. Badlands. Interesting. Badlands Tundra. Okay, so I'm going to assume that we are playing against some 5-color up the beanstalk bullshit that just wants to play a bunch of permanents. Multiple Mistrise Village. Interesting. You're cooking, Casey. Good for you. So, yeah. And yeah. Very nice. There is some question of, like, what the fuck am I doing over the next couple of turns? Like, am I playing Urza Saga next turn to play a fair beatdown plan? Am I trying to Urza Saga into Nadu? Am I trying to Green Sun into Chatterfang after playing Academy Manufactor? Yeah, that was very expected. And what was that? Discards Architects of Will. Okay. Do I have to, like, worry about living death? I think we're doing this. And just generating very large Urza Saga construct tokens eventually. Days. Okay. Whale of the Forgotten. Look at the top 3, put 1 into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. Yeah, my opponent might be doing some weird Reanimator living end stuff. Don't want extra lands here. I need the Endurance? Hope not. Do I just Nadu? I think I Nadu next turn. I think I make the construct now. Yeah, I think I make the construct now. And then hope that my Green Sun resolves next turn for a bunch of value. Fuck, I did need to do the thing. This is going to cascade into Living End. Yep. That's why my opponent is maxing out on this. Okay. Alright. Should have trusted my gut. It's very, very bad if I'm wrong. Overlord ticks down. Do this thing. Samewise. Okay. I can maybe get that into play. Get Shuko. I think I need to put the land into play so this is not dazable. Green Sun for 3. Get Nadu. And then hope that I produce a land that can let me Samwise. Nice. Now I'll fetch twice. Get Savannah, get Trop. Or actually, I don't need to make this dazable. I can wait a second. So, Chatterfang coming soon. I guess if I did, I guess I could have not taken the lands out of deck yet then. Okay, cool. So now I will floop down a Samwise. And then I will have up to, I already did this on the construct, right? Yeah. Then I will have a bunch of hits to find a mana dork to get my chain going. Peregrine took, not what I'm looking for. This can be Dryad Arbor if I need it to. Trigger on Samwise. Opponent says, this is honestly terrifying. Same to you. Opponent's deck is sweet. Okay, there's Noble Hierarch. That's great. So now I will fetch, drop Noble Hierarch. And now I'm going to make a food token, which is actually going to be a clue, food, and treasure. Here we go. Now, hopefully I just hit decently so that I can get a Chatterfang into play. Urza's Saga trigger. Okay, that's 3 mana. Now we Chatterfang. And this is where the real insidious shit happens. This Chatterfang is going to make squirrels, right? And the squirrels will feed into the Nadu shit. All right, always yield to Samwise. We click the Academy Manufactor one first, and I make some things. Now, we go fucking wild. 1 treasure. I can do this on a bunch of squirrels. There's a delighted halfling. I'm not going to be able to tell which squirrels I have fucking done this on, am I? Yeah, not easily. Okay, so play a... I could do a 2-mana thing instead. Play a Scythecat Cub. Scythecat Cub is fine. Triggers. Make friends. We're doing the thing. Do this on Scythecat Cub. Scythecat Cub is going to put... Nobody has haste. This 5... let's make this construct bigger. All right, fetch. Dryad Arbor. Oh, I'm not really getting much more mana then, am I? Understood. So I have 2 treasure tokens. I have more Urza Sagas that I can find. Let's find some Urza Sagas. All right, I will make a Hierarch, which does the thing. I really wanted a Gaia's Cradle in this deck. So target some squirrel. I've picked a wrong squirrel. Target a different squirrel. So we're just going to find an Urza Saga to get up to the 3rd mana. I don't think it super matters where I stack up these counters. So this doesn't have a thing to find, right? Yeah, so I have exactly 1 Urza Saga that I could find here. I think I'm going to say that this is just good enough. I'm going to do this for x equals 1. Oh, I can get Gilded Goose. Gilded Goose does some interesting things here. That's going to make a couple of foods and a couple of squirrels. Nice. So now I'm back to 2. So now I will Green Sun again. We are dirtling so hard. Pick up Sylvan's Safekeeper. Make more friends. And I'll just play out the 1-drops that are in my hand. They are effectively free. So, more Delighted Halfling. Oh, Lava Spur Boots was a way to get haste in the air and kill this turn. Oops. Well, I guess my opponent has Living Death and can, in theory, answer this. In which case, I just Nadu all over again. Okay. I think I'll just pass the turn here. And if my opponent dies, cool. They don't die, we'll figure it out. So I discarded a couple of creatures there so that if my opponent living ends, I at least get some stuff started. Street Wraith cycling. Fetching. Colossal Sky Turtle that to hand. No. So target you, a black, sacrifice a squirrel to kill you. That is an endurance. Targeting me, I can sacrifice 3 foods to return some stuff to my hand. So let's return all of that. So get back a Saga, get back a friend, get back another friend. Now you can put those lands back in my deck. It is unfortunately another one. I guess I could have kept going until I had an endurance in my hand. Wait, I can just get an endurance in my hand. Yeah, I can probably just get an endurance in my hand. Nadu gets Shroud. Sacrifice a land. Nadu gets Shroud. Sacrifice a land. You get Shroud. Sacrifice a land. Scythecat Cub. We'll just put counters on somebody else. Trigger a Nadu. Alright. Float a mana. Sylvan Safekeeper on somebody else. Sacrifice a land. There's Samewise. Sylvan Safekeeper. Target you. Have I already done you twice? Target a Noble Hierarch. It doesn't matter. Lonis. Target that same Noble Hierarch. Chatterfang. Target a Chatterfang. Green Sun. Target a Delighted Halfling. Come on, Endurance. Nope. Target a different Halfling. Just whiffing here. Alright, there's a land. Trigger Scythecat Cub. Put a counter somewhere. That triggers this again. Do that on a squirrel. Do that on a squirrel. Still have not hit Endurance, but now have a few lands. So, fetch. Yeah, all right, yeah, Endurance is in there. Trigger. Scythecat Cub on a squirrel. Scythecat Cub on a goose. Scythecat Cub on a more other squirrel. Alright, still haven't hit it. Do I have any fetch targets left? No. Okay, so Sylvan Safekeeper on a squirrel. Sacking a land. Scythecat Cub trigger on a halfling. Still haven't hit it. Sylvan Safekeeper on a squirrel. Scythecat Cub trigger on a more other squirrel. Scythecat Cub trigger on a more other squirrel. Come on, Endurance. Target Dryad Arbor. Sack a land. Endurance. Cast Endurance. Exiling a card. We found it. Ugh. There'll be a few triggers. Nuke your graveyard. There we go. We did it. Alright. I am now going to make some squirrels. I am now going to F6. And let the stack fucking empty. What happened? Where'd all my shit go? Oh, right. That's still going to happen. Alright, so now I'll target myself. Wait, no, I didn't want to do that. I could have gotten... Fuck. Sorry. Whatever, my lands are back. This is fine. I had 4 cards left. Yeah. This'll be fine. You get a thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. Play an Urza Saga. I'm not going to click through Nadu combo again. So let's just do like Lonis plus Academy Manufactor. That triggers, makes me a bunch of shit, and then I'll just go off this way. So my 1-drop is fine and free. My 1-drop is fine and free. Then let's do something like this. White and green. Dryad Arbor is in play. Oh, I don't have another thing I can cast immediately. Yeah, whatever. Discard a bunch of cards. I'm going to time out in probably game 1 here. Sure. Gonna miss. I'll just take it, honestly. Go to 5. My opponent can just bounce that and living end yet again. That's fine. So Urza Saga ticks up. I will play out a Chatterfang. And actually, how big is this token? This token should just be lethal sized, right? Oh, fuck, I discarded my boots. Oops. Never mind, I have the boots. Yeah. Boots. Whip to construct token. There we go. We cannot finish this match in this degree of time. Soul Guide Lantern is good. Endurance is good. Meddling Mage is good. Trim Gilded Goose. Can I just not click through Nadu combo fast enough? I maybe just can't click through Nadu combo fast enough. So I get rid of that. I just try to go wide of my opponent. Sure. I'm going to just concede the game where I am on the draw. Unless I just open on Meddling Mage, maybe. That is 2 different Meddling Mages. I'll keep this. Sure. So I get a mana source here. And I just Dryad Arbor. I will need to hit another mana source that is colored. Mistrise Village. Up the Beanstalk. Sure. I didn't hit it. Green and 1. Scythecat Cub. Saga. The counters there. Soul Guide Lantern. Nuke a land. Pass turn. Land drop. Sure. Badlands. Fairy's fine. I will be able to kill that. You got it. Hopefully I just draw a land here. Did not. Oh, that's fine. It's annoying, but it's happening. Not letting that live. Fairy's dead. I will drop a new Scythecat Cub. Force of Will. That's fine. Incubation for an Overlord. Sure. F6 for my little value edge here. Emperor of Bones. Yeah. Burden of Frailise. Sure. That's all fine. I think this is awkward enough that I'm just going to concede and try to play out the next game. I think my opponent's too good at stalling me out there. I'm going to submit with the same plan. I play this very differently if I have more time on clock. This is fine. Hierarch and pass. I'm going to just get rid of this stop. Cat Cub is great. Fetch land, trigger. Always yield to that. And I'm going to do this lazily because I need to F6 as much as possible. Turn that into a 4/4. Then on my next turn, I will probably Meddling Mage Living End. Generous Ent, that's fine. Savannah, Leyline Binding. Yep. And so I lose a +1/+1 counter on Noble Hierarch for being lazy. Saga is great. White and blue. I'm going to shut off the sweeper and try to go wide of what my opponent is doing. My opponent can potentially remove Living End and then sweep, and that would be annoying. Malevolent Rumble. Larian Conqueror is annoying. Alright, and my opponent does have it. So this is artifacts, creatures, planeswalkers. Sure. And an Overlord. You've got it. That starts ticking down. Spend it. 4/3. 15. Mistrise Village. There's a Teferi on the Urza Saga. That slows me down significantly. An Overlord starts ticking down. I will replay this. Drop a Green Sun for 3. Grab an Endurance just in case. Endurance there. That's how I lose. Is all that shit coming back. Alright, Teferi dies. I have Scaling Power in play. Malevolent Rumble. Voice of Victory in there too. Getting another Overlord. Casting an Overlord. Foundation Breaker. That's the Evoke one. Okay, I mean, that's good. That can take out my Urza Saga. Emperor of Bones is obviously a little annoying. Grrr. Samewise. Blue and green. Make a thing. Send in. I would be willing to trade a construct token for that. I would not be willing to trade this. Alright, opponent's just gonna chomp. That's fine. I imagine this is lethal next turn. Constructs are 4s by themselves. Yeah. I'm not going to play out the last 2 minutes. I am good stopping there. GG's. What a deck that is uniquely suited to beating what I am doing. Okay, I do not think I like this hand. I have 3 of the same effect, so I'm very good at making more tokens, but I don't really have a path forward to winning the game. And I don't think Gilded Goose 2 mana, make a food token, and turn it into a lot of things is quite where I want to be. This is effectively the same hand, but now I'm on 6. So we're going to begrudgingly keep this on 6 and see if our opponent does something broken. We've got Green Sun for days. Channeling Dryad Arbor. Hello, Dryad Arbor. I don't know. Oh, I'm going to return this upkeep stop now that I'm not just timing out. That's unfortunate. I thought about fetching a basic forest, but if I do that, then I don't have access to white mana should I need it. I think that is just an annoying downside that I accept. That's rough, losing 2 lands in the same turn cycle. I mean, there's the exact white mana situation that I was talking about. When I draw another land, I can turn this into a mana dork, and specifically it can be a Delighted Halfling to make 2 of these cards uncounterable. This is a spot where I would like to have the Surveil land. So we're just chilling. That's an awkward land. Dutch. I guess I'm already wastelandable. Such a good days. Don't do it. Is it Pierce instead? It is Pierce. So I'm fine if my next draw is a land, and I am in trouble if my next draw is not a land. My opponent has stopped 3 of my mana sources, and it's turn 4. That does not bode well for my deck full of 3 drops here. Oh no, that's a Murktide. It is a 6/6. Okay, I did draw a land, so that helps. How am I beating this Murktide Regent? By making this a Nadu is the answer. Okay. I'm just going to fetch now so that there's not an opportunity to wasteland me in response to my fetch land later. But I won't make the creature yet. This is exactly a 3-turn clock now. And I probably don't clock my opponent back fast enough to pressure them if they get the first attack here. My Dryad Arbor is already gone too, which doesn't help my cause. I'll take 6. I'm at 12. Cycle Lorien revealed. Are you big enough to be beans? Or do you just have a couple of cheeky Lorien revealed in there? Because Lorien revealed is just good. A lot of the beans decks wouldn't be playing Spell Pierce, though. I didn't hit the land to turn this into a Nadu immediately, which is not great for me. Been a couple hours since I recorded the last round. I don't think I have a mana producer in here anymore. Stifle. Fuck. Alright, yeah, we are full on Delver over there. So now I don't get my Shuko. And I'm probably not going to get to enough mana to Green Sun here. I think I'm just dead. That'll do. I don't beat that. I will concede to that there. So I need removal spells here. I would like Endurance. I could consider these cards. Go down on the Took, down on the Gilded Goose. I still will have green sunnable blockers for flyers. Then it gets a little harder. Let's trim Safekeeper and trim a couple cards here. Let's mess with those ratios a little differently. Try something like that. This is not enough stable mana for me. Let's mulligan that one. This is a little bit too much mana, but I'm going to err on the side of that being okay in this specific matchup. I will start out on a basic forest. I don't expect Delighted Halfling to make it around the table. And then we just kind of decide what we do with the Green Sun. Sort of unfortunately, a lot of times I want to do Green Sun at a total of 4 mana. If I wait, this can be discarded. If I do it now, it can be dazed. I don't think it's high enough impact if I do it now. I am just going to drop a land and pass. This is an instance where a Surveil land would be good. Maybe I fetch a basic forest when my opponent does not have Stifle available.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think waiting to try to turn it into like a Scythecat cub or equivalent is perfectly reasonable, though. Oh, deck. That's not what I want to see. Opponent has fetched. I am going to fetch in response here just so this land can't be stifled, even though I have some more. There's a Surveil land. Opponent has Carpetal Flowers boarded in. I'm not that blue. I don't think that actually makes sense against me. Don't super care about that. You got it. They're on Murktide Regent. This is only a 5/5. That is a 4-turn clock. I have some time here. Please don't daze me. To be competitive against Murktide as a threat, I think I need to not play around daze there so that I can stack up counters on this creature. Get a Trop. So this is a 4/4. Next turn, I can play a land, 3 counters on it, then fetch and double the counters on this. And then we are competitive with Murktide Regent as far as a threat goes. Another Fatal Push style card probably is the death of me. All right, Brainstorm's resolved. Is it Fatal Push? Not Fatal Push. Nice. That was not a shuffle. We could see my opponent still Fatal Push here. He's just a little guy. Don't do it. Have a heart. Burner account 52. Known for your empathy. Murderous Cut? It's Murderous Cut. That beefs up Murktide. I take 7. I need a Swords to Plowshares next turn. Plus no Force of Will, plus no follow-up threat. I'm going to take 7 in combat on my opponent's turn. Going to 3. And opponent... Man, we bottomed out hard that game. Scythecat Cub had a real chance of going all the way, though. GG's. Okay. I really need another mana source. This hand is so full of gas and is totally fine and good as long as I hit a land in 2 draw steps. I don't think I want to risk it. This is slightly the opposite end of the spectrum, where this is a little bit too much mana, but I do think this hand is safer. And now we just need to not flood out this time. Sure. Ponder. Hopefully we can put a win on this board this game. I crushed the shit out of my first opponent in the round that was lost. And since then I've gotten my butt kicked. Don't worry, we're going to go into the tournament practice room after this and play one more bonus match to round out the league. Because this error was my fault. I mean, technically it was Streamlabs' fault, but it was a preventable error. We've got Tropical Island here. So these cards are basically all the same here. So we will pick one of them. This one technically has 2 power, but I think I want to play this one first because this one has more utility in the late game. Maybe that means if I am sideboarding out a card, it should be 1 Academy Manufactor. Yes. I'm very into this card. My opponent could be basically anything right now. There is some fear that they are just a show and tell deck. And if I don't play this card, I'm not remaining competitive. So let's do a Green Sun for 3. Force of Will pitching Lorien Revealed. Could still be Beans. Could be a bug deck. I can attack into Endurance here because of Exalted. 16. And then opponent will probably have a Surveil land. And junks another land. Are you Uro? Are you Nadu? Okay, you are Show and Tell. 5 mana, just cast a fucking Lorien Revealed. Let's go. So, let's play Peregrine Took. Play some boots. Equip this fool of a Took. Go to combat. Kick our opponent in the Tookus. Send him to 9. When I make a food, boy howdy, we are gonna do stuff. But are we dead before that happens? Very possibly. Are we at Hardcast Omniscience? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. White, black, blue, green. And a bunch of life. Or an Atraxa. We are hardcasting an Atraxa. Ooh, that is a Force of Will, which I don't want to see. Because that can stop whatever cool thing I'm hoping to do. So my opponent will have Show and Tell and Force of Will here. So let's play another one of these. And one of these. Call that good. We have 3 of the same side of our pseudo combo finish here. I think with my opponent having Force of Will here, I'm just a goner. Yeah. There's an Omniscience. There's a more other Omniscience. Ooh. Okay. So there is a chance for me to draw something like Nadu, make it uncounterable, and then Lava Spur Boots combo off. Samewise. White, green. Cast Samewise. Now I'm punished for not holding this out to immediately make a bunch of food. What's my most valuable card here? What am I protecting with Boots? Samwise? Not that my opponent is likely to target my stuff, but I get 1 more draw step. I don't have game 1 removal, but I could just like put a fucking Goose in play. Oh no. Stock up's real good, folks. Real good. I take 7. The next hit gets me. I need a legendary creature here. Okay, that is a legendary creature. So we go blue and green. This is uncounterable. Samwise is going to trigger. So I'm going to make a food, which is going to turn into a couple of permanents. So now I would like to make a whole bunch of clues and then get an Emrakul out of my opponent's deck. That's the dream. I don't think that's super realistic. That's the out that I play towards. So my opponent should just counter this. Otherwise, it nets mana. It's really weird that they should counter this. Yeah, okay, they figured that out. So I can gain 3 life here with a food token and go to 9? I can crack a clue first, though. Draw 1 card. Urza's Saga. I can also sack 3 foods to draw a card. I think I want to just do this, though. This gets me through a turn cycle. I'm at 9. We'll call that a turn. And then next turn, I can make an Urza Saga token and then start doing my bullshit. No! 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 Okay, well, that extra turn is pretty good. Just for giggles, what would I have drawn? Opponent had another Force of Will. I could have drawn this, cast it, my opponent would have countered it, and that would have stopped me if I tried to continue. So I think I was correct in what I did. My opponent's top card just happened to be Emrakul. Note there, though, that their average top deck is very, very, very good. Meddling Mage on Show and Tell. This is literally why you are here. And I can think about some of this stuff, although I don't know that I'm really in love with that. Goose can go. Safekeeper can go. One of these goes. I could technically sacrifice 15 squirrels to kill Emrakul, right? Don't really need endurance here, though. Now, do I want to try to fight over an Omniscience? I don't know that I want to force a Vigor, but I think I'm okay putting in an Urza Saga target. There's a lot of times where my opponent just gets priority and does something broken before my Haywire Might exiling it matters. Okay. We have an opening hand here, and I get to decide pretty early on whether or not I want to walk towards Lonis Academy Manufactor combo, or if I want to just try to Scythecat aggro down my opponent. They are going to have really good selection, and they like their card for Ponder. I think I need to walk this line. So if I walk this line, this turn I tap out, and then next turn I play Lonis while keeping up a green for Haywire Might Omniscience. What we don't want to see is a show and tell this turn. So I need to put in this so I can potentially exile an Omniscience. So Scythecat Cub trigger, target Scythecat Cub with this trigger on the stack. I am going to exile this. I am not getting... Here we go. So target Omniscience, play this. Cool. Do you have something in response? You do not have something in response. Hot damn. Scythecat Cub coming to the rescue there. I don't know if my opponent thought about what would happen if I put in a landfall creature there. Ho, buddy. Scythecat Cub. No, my meow meows. That was going to be so cool. So trigger, fetch,
Get a land, trigger, double, blue and green, combat 6. I have 7 damage next turn, which is effective lethal through Ancient Tomb. Don't do it! Okay. It's not another show and tell. That is a win on my end. Holy shit, Scythecat Cub doing fucking work there. Good job, Haywire Might, though. It was the combination of those 2 cards that did it together. So now, when I am on the draw, am I slow enough that I want to attempt to force a Vigor? I think the answer is yes. You are slow? You are slow? This is fine. This has a Meddling Mage for show and tell on turn 2. I can get a Dryad Arbor immediately, which is probably fine. Ooh, that is better, because this sometimes baits a show and a Force of Will, letting my Meddling Mage resolve. But this only makes legendary creatures uncounterable. So these sorts of things we're good to go on. This, still Force of Willable. Is it Ancient Tomb? It's not. Nice. Always you. Always you. Grab Savannah. That needs to be white. And blue? Do you have a force? Unfortunate. That's force pitching force. And then opponent's doing something else. They're just surveilling. Do I ever want this to be Dryad Arbor immediately? I think I actually do. Or no, I can't. Okay. Yeah, because this is not a true mana dork. For green, anyway. So, it is still possible for Ancient Tomb Show and Tell plus thing to happen here. I'm hoping I get a little time. Okay. So I need more mana. I think the way I do that is blue and green. Play this. Fetch 1, 2, I'll have 3, 4, 5. I would like 6 next turn. So we are going to grab a Trop, play a Green Sun, pick up a second Delighted Halfling. I can do both of these things uncounterably next turn, and probably win the following turn. Unfortunately, Green Sun does not find our good friend Haywire Might to help hedge against Omniscience. There is a 5th mana. We could be looking at Hardcast Lorien revealed now. Rob? We're passing. There could be a 3rd Force of Will? Urza's Saga is fine. Urza Saga is fine. So you for Peregrine took. Investigate. Make some stuff. Then you for Uncounterable. Do this. Investigate. Now Peregrine Took's thing goes off. So we do that prior to Chatterfang to make the extra squirrel. I'm just bashing in for 1. 3 is not enough to be interesting. The next turn, I am going to get so many triggers because I can activate Urza Saga and fetch Dryad Arbor. We don't want to see Intuition here. Yeah, no, that was bad for me. This will be 3 copies of Dryad Arbor, or sorry, of Omniscience or Show and Tell, whichever one my opponent is missing. And Academy Manufactor would be giving me treasure tokens here, which theoretically has some text. This is notably a pretty respectable board for turn 4. The thing my opponent is doing is just innately more unfair than what I am doing. Oh, it is Eureka instead, which is one of the reasons to splash green. My opponent gets an Omniscience and an Atraxa, which reveals a Stock Up, notably, and a Force of Will. They also have a Null Rod there, which makes these cards worse. That's fine. I'm going to cross out everything but those. Ooh, that's a good one. I will be dead to an Emrakul if my opponent finds one, because of the damage. I could sacrifice 6 permanents here and not care. Another Atraxa. Trigger. That's the Emrakul. That'll do. That's unfortunate. So that is a 1-4 league, but we're going to go into a bonus round here in the tournament practice room to round it out. Okay, I have some great fair stuff going on here that will pivot into being very, very unfair. So we have Scythecat, Cub, Nadu as our preferred turn 2 and turn 3, but I could also just as easily Samewise into Chatterfang, depending on what we see from the other side of the board. So we'll just play a land and pass. Got a Delta from our opponent, Bulk, and a DRC. This is fine. If we can make a Nadu resolve, Nadu checks that very, very well. There's some question on what exactly we do here in terms of the turn 2 plan. Opponent gets their redraw here, and I will be good to go on colors. I think we're playing Samewise as initial days bait here, and just try to use these 2 cards as bait and trying to resolve this stuff as the stuff that matters later. So white-green, cool. 2 card types in graveyard. It looks like we were playing against Grixis Delver specifically. Rakdos, what's the Dreadbore card? Molten Collapse, there we go. Sure, this is fine. I'm only taking 1 damage this turn. This is actually great for me. 17. So now we don't want to play Chatterfang immediately. I can just play this into Chatterfang, or I can just play Scythecat Cub and then fetch land and then Noble Hierarch afterwards, which I think is the line that I am going to take. This potentially baits out a Daze or Force of Will here, because I think this game is all about resolving this card. Okay, there is the Daze. So then land, fetch, we'll get another Trop, drop a Hierarch. And now next turn I have Nadu around Daze. If we establish that, I blank the board in the short term. We don't want to see like a Murktide Regent here. Okay. That's annoying and puts Daze back on the table. I'll take 3. Daze is off the table. Here is Nadu. Ooh, that's rough. We got a Murktide Regent for our trouble, but we really needed that to resolve. Land is fine. If everybody is coming to party, then I think Dryad Arbor pops out and attempts to kill a Bowmaster. Bam. Take 4. This is still a 2-turn clock, but hopefully I blank this. Don't get to double spell this turn. So now I just need a way to make an initial token to have this start popping off. I want to just fetched for no reason? Unless there was a Surveil on their turn? No, I don't think so. Blue-red? Corey Steelcutter. I wanted to see more of this card in action. It does minimal by itself, but as soon as that second spell is cast, it starts to become interesting. Opponent junked a Fatal Push. I guess if they can't get Exalted, or not Exalted, Revolt immediately, that's a fine decision. Bobble. So now the Prowess trigger means that this monk gets to attack this turn, which is pretty decent. I'm not dead, but I'm going to die the following turn. Sure. Both those come in. This is 6, so I'm dead to Bolt, I'm dead to this attack. My opponent gets a redraw. So I play Samewise, I play Delighted Halfling. I end up with a mana off this. I don't have 2 mana to make a clue afterwards. I am a mana short of where I need to be. That's a shame. Alright. Swords in, Endurance in. I don't think we're going to force a Vigor for Corey Steelcutter. I don't think we're going to Collector Oof that either. 1, 2. Do I want you? I don't think so. Am I getting rid of Green Suns for being slow? Or do I need them to be Nadus and Endurances? Safekeeper can go. Maybe I go down like 2 of these. Maybe burying my opponent in clues is good enough. Yeah, this is fine. I don't love the Dryad Arbor in my hand. So, land, Delighted Halfling, and pass. Wasteland is annoying, but not the end of the world. This is uncounterable in the future. I'm going to play this when this is not Dazeable. Bam. And the next turn I can make this uncounterable and play Dryad Arbor. So hopefully I am coming out ahead of my opponent here. That's not a bolt. And Dryad Arbor will trigger Lonis. So we'll take it. Yeah, that's a cool card. But let's go blue-green, uncounterable, Dryad Arbor, Scythecat Cub, trigger, investigate for my clue. I go to punchies. Now we've got a lot of targets for a potential lightning bolt here. I currently have 3 mana next turn for an Academy Manufactor into Lonis pseudo combo. But my opponent very easily could do something like an Orcish Bowmaster that denies me some mana. 2 mana? Molten Collapse? Molten Collapse. They can take the clue. They're just taking the aggressive cub here. Take your redraw. I could just get another Scythecat Cub. But I think we are just going to do... Yeah, we're just going to do this around a daze here. So then trigger, investigate. I go up on mana. Fetch. Grab a Savannah. Play a Noble Hierarch. Who's going to trigger all my friends again. Now I have 2 treasure tokens. I don't want to do this yet. Doing this on a higher number is just better for me. So let's just bash in with Exalted for 2. And then next turn, I just pick up a Chatterfang and we win the following turn. DRC is fine. Bobble is fine. Opponent takes a peek. Cool, this means that my opponent's not going to have Bowmaster mana available. If I start trying to do my thing. Fetch. Where is this bolt go? Oh, it's a Pyroblast. We good with that? I think we're good with that. I don't think I need to draw in response there. These resources are still all the same on my turn. So take your redraw. Not the biggest fan of that. 1, 2, and 3 still have bonus mana available. Let's do this for x equals 3. Hopefully this doesn't get Force of Willed. And I think this is a spot where I just keep my opponent from playing something giant like a Murktide Regent. And then I can go land, fetch. It doesn't super matter what land I get here. We will go 1 and 2. Just crack a clue immediately. While Bowmaster isn't live, I am okay just cracking another one of these. Those lands are not what I want. I will crash in with Exalted here. Okay. So now I have brick-walled my opponent's offense. I have some food that I can eat. That's something to do with my mana in the short term. Ori Steel Cutter. That's fine and good. It's probably not getting in through Endurance. Opponent's saying no to Brazen Borrower. Ponder. Opponent has to be careful here. If they were to play a Bobble now, they could force their DRC to have to attack into Endurance, which could be very awkward. Okay, there's a fetch land. No attacks. That's fine. This is uncounterable. So blue and green. 2/4 as an attacker. Things can go wrong. I would rather not risk that in combat right now. I just have 6 life queued up that I am going to gain in this turn cycle. Don't think I need that chip damage. Okay. This now has to attack. So there needs to be something to deal with the endurance, or my opponent is going to be sad. I guess they could manually move Ori Steel Cutter with their remaining mana to turn it into a 4/4. There's a fetch. Bobble. There's a redraw. Are we moving Ori Steel Cutter? Oh, it's a Murktide Regent. So now this is just going to be dependent on how good my next couple of top decks are. There it is. So 3 card types remaining in graveyard here. What punishes my endurance block? Gut Shot. That seems unlikely. Okay, I mean, I'll bite. I will take 4. I'm just going to gain all of that back at end of turn by having a snack. And yeah. So my opponent gets a redraw. Urza's Saga is a little awkward after I just ate my food. Yeah. I don't have a good attack here. Now, Ori Steel Cutter notably does give Trample, which could be relevant. Sure. Can also give haste to things that my opponent plays out. I'll take this hit for 6, that's fine. Urza's Saga. Am I playing out Delighted Halfling? I think no. I think I am saving that for if I draw something like a Lonis, then I play it afterwards to make a bunch of tokens. Similarly, I think I hold this for landfall. I could actually need the mana next turn. They could do a lot with Urza's Saga plus certain draws. With 3 cards in graveyard and none of them being instants, I'm not sure if I take a chip attack here. I think I don't, but it's close. This is where a Shadow Spear in my toolbox could be really, really good. It's Quarry Steelcutter on the Murktide Regent, so I'm not going to have the opportunity to get as much life with an Endurance. I'll accept this. I think next turn my opponent gets to attack me all out, assuming that these are 3/3s, and win. Thoughtseize. Sure. And they keep their card on top, which probably doesn't bode well for me, because, like, what do you want? You want a removal spell. It's like, that's how you just very, very easily win next turn. Do I make a friend? It's not a very big friend. Verdant Catacombs is not what I'm looking for. I will take a quick look in my deck, but I believe that I am dead. I can't produce lethal through 3 different bodies here. And I don't have Shadow Spear. I can Lava Spur Boots. These are 4/4s. One of them can be a 5. My opponent can just attack and block. I guess I give them a chance to make mistakes. So Lava Spur Boots, equip. I have to leave this one back or I always die. My opponent just chump blocks with the Monk and then takes the rest. Is 4 getting through. I can attack with 3 other bodies, throw 2 bodies away. Then my opponent blocks with one of these. That doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. We are doing conservative blocks. Okay. This is fine. Sure. If my opponent has a removal spell, I am always dead. Does moving Lava Spur Boots matter for the following turn? I might need to just move it to a different body, just for the sake of spreading out a lethal damage push. I'm going to hold this for Scythecat Cub, and we'll see if my opponent topped a removal spell. Oh, I don't know what my cat is doing, but it is insane in the hallway right now. That is a Molten Collapse for Endurance. I am exactly dead in the air. Unfortunate. That is 7. I am at 7. I am dead. Oh, the next draw is a Green Sun. That's a shame. All right. Overall thoughts on the deck list. For a, like, totally from scratch, brew something wild thing, I think I did okay. Alan's challenge here was tough. I expected to have more starting points available for brewing around this card, and I just didn't. So Lonis into Academy Manufactor was something that ended up being pretty strong in slower fair matchups, but not fast enough for opposing combo decks. The Nadu stuff that was in the deck was very powerful. It is very apparent to me that just playing a Nadu deck would be stronger than what we are doing here. The Nadu stuff very much was, like, overpoweringly strong. It was just innately stronger than what I was doing in the deck, even though the Nadu package was 5 cards. Like, it was stronger than most of what the rest of the deck was doing, which is probably a sign that you should not be messing around with these cards in this format. If I was going to play this again, I would straight up run 4 Scythecat Cub, 4 Nadu, and trim some stuff around the edges. I used Sylvan Safekeeper once. I didn't do the Gilded Goose stuff. I wanted to have it because it is a way to tutor up a food to get the Samewise and Lonis and Academy Manufactor stuff started when you are tight on mana. It is very much a neat combo. I think if you are not interested in the Nadu side of the deck, you make the mana worse, you go into black, and you give yourself that infinite combo. If you go into black, there are other ways that you can kind of combo off once you have Academy Manufactor or something else that is increasing the output of artifacts that you do. Once I started doing my thing, the squirrels don't kill immediately. The squirrels take 1 extra turn to kill, which was relevant against our Bizarro Living End 5-color Yorion pile. Giving opponents turns in Legacy definitely matters. So having to pass the turn to get your kill
is a bit of a pain. Having to figure out the combo lines that were possible post Nadu in real time was something that was tough. This is not a deck that is optimized for a Nadu combo, is something I threw in to round out the deck list. This deck could want a second Dryad Arbor. It works well with Nadu, it works well with Lonis. Again, there is this tension in the mana base with the Urza Sagas, which exist to tutor up this stuff. Maybe you can play this with more creatures, like get rid of the Urza Saga stuff, just go into white, pick up some Nomads in core. You would just be building worse Nadu, though. I'm a little torn on the Surveil land at the end of the video here. Having all of my lands be untapped to play these 3-drops on curve absolutely matters. Surveil lands are just generically good. My mana is already questionable. There were times where we are wastelanded off our colors. I think you need both Samewise and Lonis to make this work in terms of curve out. It's possible there might be enough redundancy here where you don't need Green Sun, but Green Sun for Nadu and Green Sun for Endurance was just really good. You go into black, you could also think about Grist as another mid-range Green Sun target. Meddling Mage in the sideboard was great. The sideboard was pretty generically good. I'm happy with the stuff that was there. So overall, I'm going to give this a thumbs up of a first draft of a deck. I'm going to give it a thumbs down in terms of traditional legacy power level. And there are going to be some massive weaknesses with this deck. We're not going to be great against fast combo. Arrakis was problematic because this is a legendary creature deck, but the other side of that is that Delighted Halfling gets to just clown on counterspell decks. So I think I'm done rambling here, folks. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. I hope you enjoyed the bonus round, and I hope you'll forgive me for messing up the first round. That one was on me. And should you need some cards, you know where to go. Once again, Alan, thanks for your support, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. See ya!